This is a video I have been waiting to share ever since I've started having children. I am so excited to share with you my home birth story and how that all came about, what all happened, and the beautiful redemptive birth that it was. But first, I would like to introduce Mary Lou Henderson. We had a girl. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness. She's so sweet. So she's in here with us, and so is Sam. Sam is actually chilling right now, hanging out on a playmat. So if you hear things in the background, I do have 2 out of 3 of my kids in here with me. Let me just preface with my previous 2 births. I'm just going to do a quick explanation of kind of how those were. I planned a home birth with my first child, and I made it to 38 weeks, had the birth tub, did all the things, had the midwife, went to all the appointments, ended up going to my 38-week appointment, and I had preeclampsia. So I was admitted and induced and had my baby in the hospital, and I was able to have a vaginal birth, and thankfully no C-section or anything. It was a long birth. It was 26 hours total. I pushed for 4 hours. I had really bad back labor. I ended up getting an epidural at 8 centimeters because I was so exhausted. My postpartum with my first birth was very difficult. I had a uterine infection that wasn't caught for 2 weeks. It was awful. The pain felt like I was in labor all over again. I had really bad postpartum depression. It was just a lot going on. It was really hard. I did not feel connected to my baby till she was about 4 months old. Yes, so that was how my first birth went. Baby number 2, we were planning another home birth. At our 20-week anatomy scan, we found out that he had several different big health conditions that he would have to deliver with a specialist. Long story short, he ended up having to relocate and move to Florida to have him. So the second half of my pregnancy, all the way till he was 9 months old, we spent all that time in Florida. So we spent a whole year in Florida, had to relocate. It was heavily medicated, like medical. He was in the hospital. It was just really, really difficult. Obviously, I didn't get the birth that I wanted. Thankfully, I did go into labor naturally, which I was supposed to be induced, but I went into labor naturally at 36 weeks. So I was thankful that at least I got to experience that beginning of knowing what it feels like to go into labor. I did get an epidural again at 8 centimeters. I went as long as I could, and I wasn't going to push myself because I knew I was about to go into a very emotional situation, having my child taken from me as soon as he's born, and the whole hospital stay, all that kind of stuff. I went ahead and just told myself if I wanted to do the epidural, that's what I was going to do. So that's what ended up happening. That was the situation with my second baby. Now we're on to baby number 3. This one I was really, really praying and hoping to have a redemptive, good, peaceful birth, going through everything that I did with my son in the second birth, because it was heavily medical. I mean, it kind of even pushed me even more wanting to have a home birth, wanting things to be hands off, wanting to not have to go into a hospital. I do not do well in hospital settings, especially after dealing with everything with my son. A lot of trauma and things come up whenever I go into those kind of settings, because it was a very difficult season for us. So I just do not feel comfortable in the hospital. So that was another reason why I wanted to do a home birth even more this go round. Pregnancy was really great. I had a great midwife. She was amazing, and I just felt so at ease with her, and I felt like she was giving me such good care. Pretty much my entire pregnancy, my main goal was to try to minimize stress as much as possible and just really focus on good experiences, like hearing a lot of good home birth stories and things like that. I totally thought I would probably have an earlier baby, since I went into labor so early with Sam at 36 weeks. I know Nora, I was induced, but I don't know, I just assumed I would go into labor earlier with this baby. We did not know the gender of this baby. We were super excited to keep it a surprise, and I do have to say, I think that aided in my labor. I was really, really excited leading up into labor, when before I would get really nervous leading up into labor. We didn't have these preconceived thoughts of who this child was. We had no idea who they were, and so it was really exciting to think, oh my goodness, we're about to meet our baby, like literally meet them. We don't know anything about them. But I went to 40 weeks and 2 days. I was actually Her due date was actually July 4th. My birthday is actually July 3rd, so I thought that was really funny. The due date was July 4th. July 4th came and went, and I could not believe I had made it all the way to 40 weeks. That's when it hit me where I was starting to get a little bit impatient. Sammy's yelling now. I had had prodromal labor for 3 weeks. So from literally the day that I turned 37 weeks, I started having prodromal labor, and I had it for 3 weeks straight. It would always start at night, where I would start getting very intense contractions, and they would be coming, but there was no consistency with time or intensity. It would kind of just fluctuate. And I had never experienced prodromal labor. In the beginning, I kept telling Chip, okay, it's time. And he blew up the pool and had everything ready just in case it ended up being the time. But it never was for 3 weeks. And it's like close to 11 o'clock. It's like 10:30 or 11. Day I turned 37 weeks, baby dropped. For sure, like 100% sure baby dropped. And then with my last baby, Sam, whenever I dropped with him, I had him the following day. Thinking I would probably have this baby pretty soon after, but it's actually been like a week and a few days. I've been crampy for the past like couple days. This morning I woke up, I was getting more Braxton Hicks than normal, and like they were increasing as the day went on. Chip was home. He hasn't been home on a Saturday in months, so this was super nice. Probably around 7, we went and just did like a quick little walk right down the street. Me, Chip, and the kids, and just went for a little bitty walk. But then on our way back, I'm pretty sure that was like a real deal contraction, because I was starting to get crampy under my belly and like my lower abdomen wrapping around to my back. And last time I felt like that, went into labor with Sam that day. Thought that's what it was. As it's gone on like the past few hours, I definitely am like thinking I'm in labor. They've gotten a little bit more intense. Anyways, I took a shower and we laid the kids down, you know, ate some food, all that kind of stuff. Chip is gonna help me. We're just gonna go ahead and kind of have all of our stuff done so that we can just go to sleep and it'll be ready whenever we need it. I feel really good. This is the best I've felt at the end of any of my pregnancies. Hopefully things continue and they don't fizzle out after I go to lay down and go to sleep, but we will see what happens.
It's kind of good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I'm excited. I'm ready. Squeeze it. That'd be nice.
Might have.
It's June 23rd. It's like 8 in the morning. Everything just kind of stopped last night. My contractions were getting a lot more intense and a lot more consistent. Then once I fell asleep, they just went away. We're just gonna go about our day like it's normal, hoping things pick up again, because now I'm like eager to have this baby now. It could be a few days, it could be later, I don't know. It kind of bummed me out this morning whenever I slept all night and didn't wake up from having more contractions. What do you think, Sammy? You wanna hold the brush? You wanna hold the brush? Oh, you hold it? Yay. So that went on for 3 weeks. Finally, I was tired and done of the prodromal labor. When is this gonna happen? I was really trying to stay focused and patient and not trying to rush it and trying to just let it happen when it was supposed to happen. But that was just really hard this go round. I'm so glad I had my midwife, because it was right at my due date. I was 40 weeks, and I asked her, I was like, is there anything I can do to help move this along, or like what should I do? And the best thing is to just let it happen when it happens. Your body will do what it needs to do when it's time. Your baby will come when they're ready, and that is the best way to handle it. Like when there's nothing else going on, there's no health concerns. I had no issues this go around. Everything was looking great, so I needed to just let this happen the way it was supposed to and kind of be hands off. It's so funny because for those 3 weeks I was going to bed early, I was eating a really good dinner, I was getting good sleep, so that if I went into labor at any point, I would be prepared and ready. But it's so funny, July 5th, I was like done. I was done with going to bed early. I was just like, you know what, Chip, let's just stay up and watch a movie. We stayed up and watched a movie, which we hadn't done in so long. Stayed up and we actually fell asleep on the couch. It was so funny. Our kids go to bed really well once they're in bed. Nora takes forever to finally calm down to get to sleep, but she doesn't normally wake up throughout the night and stuff. Neither does Sam, and so once they're asleep, normally they stay asleep. And for some reason this night, they just could not go to sleep. They kept waking up. It was like, I was like, what in the world? Why will they not go to sleep? And so finally, once we got them down and got them to sleep, we turned on a movie. Chip actually fell asleep putting Nora down again the last time. He fell asleep in there in her room, and I fell asleep on the couch. So July 6th at 1:45 in the morning, I was awoken. I was awoken by these intense contractions. I was like, ooh, this is different. This could be it for real. I got up and I went to the kitchen and I had another one immediately. And it was equally as intense. And I had to lean over. There's so many things going on. I'm so distracted right now. Yeah, come here. So then I realized I need to go tell Chip, and he was laying in Nora's room, and I had another one while I was in there trying to wake him up. I just go ahead and tell him, I think this is it. You need to get up. We need to call Jen. I think this is really happening. And so he got up. Waking him up is kind of a whole thing. So I'm glad that he woke up like the first time that I tried to wake him up, because he normally takes a really long time to wake up. We both came to the bedroom and I told him, I'm gonna try to lay down and get some rest because I don't know how long this is gonna be. So I'm gonna try to sleep. So we laid down. Chip immediately fell back asleep because he was thinking this probably isn't it again. I tried to lay down for like 20-30ish minutes. They were just coming back to back and getting more and more intense. I was laying down in like the Bradley method way, and I could do that for so long, but then finally I was like, I can't even lay like that anymore and stay relaxed. Starting to make some sounds at this point. And I woke up Chip and I was like, hey, I think this is really happening. I think it's gonna be soon. I'm gonna call Jen, who is our midwife. And so I called Jen. She answered after she heard me go through a few contractions. She said, okay, you're definitely having your baby soon. I'm gonna come over. So she only lives a few minutes away. Like once I hung up with Jen, Chip said, I'm just gonna take a really quick shower. And he was thinking I need to go and shower because probably once you have the baby, it's gonna be like boom, boom, boom. He needs to take care of me and do all the things. So he kind of just wanted to like take a shower so that he was ready kind of like for the day because he thought it was still gonna be a little while. He went to the bathroom. The next two contractions were so intense, like the intensity had gone up a lot. I yelled at him, do not get in the shower. He said without even coming out of the bathroom, he was like, yeah, I decided not to once I just heard your last contraction. He already knew. He's like, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna have a baby soon. She needs me. Then I started needing to be on all fours. I needed him to like push on my hips, and I was being really vocal at this point. Then my midwife showed up and Nora came, and she woke up from her room and came in here and said, Mama, you're doing it. You're having your baby. And she was so excited. That, bless you. That was one of the best moments in the whole labor, and I wish I could live that moment over and over and over again. I remember I was on the bed on hands and knees, swaying, trying to get through this contraction, and I heard her come in and say that. I did not know how I would feel with her around the birth. I had shown her some videos, some very like appropriate videos, like nothing that showed anything, but it did show mom that was in a tub. She made sounds like through her birth process, and then like the baby was born. So we watched a couple of those kind of to prepare with her, or I watched them with Nora, and Nora was like, oh, so the mama sings. And so I was just kind of like, yeah, the mama sings this song and that's how the baby gets out. So I said, sometimes they get loud, but it's gonna be okay because in there they have their baby. I kind of explained as best that I could to a 3-year-old how it worked so that she wouldn't be scared, because I did not know if I wanted her in the room or not in the room. I just didn't know how I felt about it. I don't know. I just didn't know how I felt. Was it gonna be more annoyed and distracted, or was it gonna be beneficial and like make me excited for the birth. I kind of just left it up to we'll see how it goes, and I'm actually so glad that's how we did it. I'm glad she was here because that gave me a lot of encouragement. At this point, Sam woke up, was actually laughing at the sounds I was making as I was laboring. Chip ended up putting Sam in Nora's room back to sleep. So all of this is happening really quickly. So at this point, it is 3 to 3:15 in the morning. Also, I called my friend Amy that lives down the street. She has had home births. I just knew I wanted like a support system here that had been through it, knows what to expect. Gave me a lot of encouragement through my pregnancy. So I really wanted her here, and she really wanted to be at the birth. A little bit after my midwife was here, Chip had the pool filled with water and like everything set up and ready, and the midwife had things set up and ready, and she looked at me and she said, okay, you can get in the pool. And I remember thinking, no way can I get in the pool. I can't be that far along, because everything I had heard, and they like you to wait to get in the water until later into labor because sometimes it can stall your labor. I was like, no way can I be that far along. And she was like, you are really close to meeting this baby, so you need to get in the water. And so got in the pool, and that was the best feeling. So much pressure taken off. The contractions were so much easier to go through, so much easier to focus. It just felt so good. My friend Amy got here. My plan was to film the birth. I didn't even know if I wanted to post it or not, but I wanted to at least film it for my own sake. I ended up not. It was so fast, and I think the prodromal labor really threw me off. The camera was so far away from what I was even thinking about when it came to labor. I just was not even thinking about that, and I think it actually did help me to not have that distraction of like wanting to film it. I think that would have been a little bit of a distraction to me, so I'm actually glad that I didn't end up filming it for that, but I do wish we had it for like the memories. It ended up only being 4 hours. It was pretty quick. I started just pouring water on my back with a cup, and it was like the best thing ever. Pretty much all I did was stay in this one position, eyes closed. Chip was in front of me, and I pretty much squeezed the backs of his arms super tight and just pressed my head into his chest, and I did that for every contraction. I needed something to release all of that energy into, and so I literally just squeezed him. Nora was so sweet. She would like get the cup and pour water on my back and rub my arm and say, Mama, you're doing so good. The baby's almost here. We're about to see the baby. And she just kept telling me all this stuff and being so sweet, and it made the birth so peaceful. Like, I cannot explain how peaceful it was compared to like being in a hospital and it being like cold and light, all these things. This just felt so natural, so good, and it felt exactly like it should feel. So thankful that I had this experience. What's crazy is my midwife never checked me. I never asked to be checked. She knew where I was based off of all the signs I was showing, just like by looking at me and hearing me, and we both were in sync and knowing what was going on. It just was so good. I do remember, I feel like now at this point, once I was in transition, I got to a point, it was like all a blur, and I don't remember like how long things took, but I got to a point where I had to have my midwife pressing on the lower part of my back. Apparently she was in the birth canal like this and was born like this. Her back was to my back. So I did experience some back labor, but it wasn't as bad as long as she was pressing on me through those contractions. But I do remember I did not say much during my birth, but at one contraction she had moved away for just a second. I just yelled, Jen, back! And she came over and started pressing back on my back again. Felt like they were all pretty manageable. I would not say there was pain. I would more say it was just really intense and like powerful. Like the contractions were just a lot. So once I got to transition though, I remember it getting really intense and really powerful and then lasting longer. Once I got to that peak, it was just really hard. I remember thinking once I got to the peak, I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I knew I could. I knew I could do it. It was such a mental thing. I just have to get these thoughts out. And so I kept saying it. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. It wasn't really me saying I couldn't do it. It was more so getting those thoughts like out of my head. If I could just keep my mental state really calm, focus on my breathing and the sound I was making, then the contractions weren't so bad. They weren't as hard to get through. I won't say the intensity went down, but I will say making a good sound and focusing on my breath did make the contractions easier. I had a few that I kind of freaked out in, and it was painful whenever I started to freak out. But once I kind of kept my composure and like stayed focused and breathed really well, then I felt they were easier. I knew I had made it through a transition once my contractions started to have a lot more time in between. Like there was like several minutes in between the contractions once I got to like the pushing phase. Pushed maybe 3 times. It was like that fetal ejection reflex kind of thing. My body was gonna push no matter what. And I did that through 3 contractions. And that's whenever I did get more vocal. Nora did leave at this point. My friend Amy took her to the living room because she did start to get more nervous the louder I got. But this was also like the fastest part of my labor. She got to see that that didn't last long and that baby was here after that. She did go into the living room and watched a movie. My body was shaking every time that it would be time to push. But I remember having this thought, if I would just, it was like so instinctual. If I can relieve the tension, the lower half of my body, if I can just release and not tighten, the baby will just come out. That's what I kept thinking, like the baby's gonna come out if I just release the lower half of my body. The next contraction came. I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna release the lower half of my body. I squeezed Chip's arms and I pressed into his chest, and I almost pushed up on my arms, and I just was literally my legs were floating under me. I released all of that and the baby just came out.
Oh my God. You did it, Maddie. We did it, baby. Oh my gosh.
You did it.
Oh my gosh.
You did it.
Oh, we did it. Yeah. We did it. Oh my gosh.
Good
You
job.
got
Good
it.
job.
We did it. We did
You
it.
did good.
It's over. It's over. It's over.
It was the most insane, crazy feeling ever. And what's crazy is half of her body came out, her head and arm came out, and then she turned so fast and then finished coming out. It was all pretty quick. Right after, I was like very shocked of what just happened. I just couldn't believe it. I don't know, I feel like I'm leaving so much out, but again, like so much of this was just a blur, but I couldn't believe it. Like whenever it was over, I could not believe I had done it. It was really intense. It was really hard, and it was really powerful. But I can say, like, after releasing the tension in my lower half, I feel like I can understand where people say you can have a pain-free birth. I won't say that the whole thing was pain-free, but it was way less painful than my other 2 births, if that makes sense. It was like, it wasn't really pain, it was just intensity. And so I feel like I can understand what people say when they say they have a pain-free birth. Next time around, if we have another one, if I can do that releasing more in my labor, I feel like it would be pain-free. I was a little bit freaked out from birthing the placenta. Obviously with my other 2, I didn't really, the placenta wasn't anything to birth. Like I don't remember that ever being a big deal. I almost freaked myself out with birthing the placenta with my home birth. I think it's just because I was like, finally I was done, the baby was out, and then I was like, oh wait, I still have to get this other thing out. My contractions were still really difficult whenever it was time to birth the placenta. So I think I just wasn't ready for that, I guess, that intensity to continue after having the baby. My midwife also had another midwife helping her, just being like a second set of hands. She came at some point. I have no idea when she came, honestly. They wanted me to turn around and they put her on me, and I just could not believe that I had just had a home birth. I had just had the most beautiful, redemptive home birth, and it was the most peaceful thing I've ever experienced. And me and Chip were just in shock because we were both so excited. And when they put her on me, somebody said her, I just heard her, and I just was like, it's a girl. In the middle of my pregnancy, I did think for a second maybe it's a girl, but I'd never wanted to say that out loud because I was not for sure. And then like the day before, me and Chip were both like, I think it could be a boy, I think it really could be a boy. But Chip the whole time was thinking it was a boy, so we were both really excited. I had her at 5:45, so the entire labor from waking up to having her was 4 hours. I actually loved when I had her. I had her early morning. The sun was just starting to come up. It was starting to be like a really pretty day, and it was just really nice. I loved the time that I had her. 5:45, she came into the world. We had no name. We had no name for like 12 hours. I ended up getting up from the tub. They all helped me come over to the bed, and I ended up birthing the placenta like on the bed. They put obviously tux pads down and everything, but finally I calmed down enough to birth the placenta. I just started freaking out, and I think it was some trauma coming up from my first birth where I had a Foley bulb placed during the birth. They had misplaced my Foley bulb the first time. It was really painful and they had to replace it, and I have some trauma I think around that. Like, I don't like medical things going into my body. I just don't, it just freaks me out. And so I think I started freaking out because I was thinking, if I can't get this placenta out, they're gonna have to like go in and get it. And I was starting to freak out. Birth the placenta, that all went great. We had no name for her for a while, but he said when he first saw her, he was like, her name needs to be Mary. It needs to be Mary. And that was not even on our list of names. And I didn't love Mary at first, but he loved it so much and he wanted to name her that so bad. And so I was like, you know what, I have pushed for our other 2 kids' names, and so I wanted him to be able to name her. But I loved the name Lou too, and so we just did Mary Lou. Then I just laid in bed while they weighed her, did the newborn exam, like all the things.
Guesses? Who's got the guesses?
8-1.
Okay, I was gonna say 8, so yep.
That's what I think. You were
Yep.
heavy set in like.
Alright.
8-1.
What is it?
I think it says 8-1, yeah.
Oh! Yay!
I know. It's torturous. It's torturous.
No. That's perfect.
She's like, why are you messing with my feet? There you go. Oh, you're so good.
I had to snuggle my baby right after having her in my home, piece of my home with my kids here. I'll show videos too of Nora meeting Mary Lou and Sam meeting Mary Lou.
She's so little.
We have a baby.
You gotta be real careful with her.
You want to see her?
Real careful.
Look how little she is. She's so tiny. It was the girl.
You were right, Nora.
You were right. You said girl earlier, didn't you? I think she's so cute. She's so little.
Look at her fingers.
Let's see where I found
What
it.
do you want to name her?
Her name is Baby.
Baby.
That's a good story.
Well, I know Sheila can send that out for me if I need it. Let me see.
She needs Tammy.
She does need Jamie.
She needs
We're
Jamie.
gonna weigh her and do some stuff first.
You gotta see how heavy she is.
Oh no, there's one right here. It's behind the door.
It's in her belly. You know how it's big?
Under these lights.
Now my belly's not big anymore. I can hug you.
Oh, is it full?
It did.
Yeah, I got it. Oh shoot. We had it in there. Sorry.
It popped it
Can
came out.
It was that easy.
Can I see it?
And I'm not working.
Well, I'm gonna keep it under the blanket for a minute. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
we
a little
gotta
tired.
keep her
But I'll
warm.
show you later, okay?
Yeah, we're gonna let Mom let the baby rest for a little bit. She looks a lot like you.
Oh, you want to care, you got
get closer.
Is it your sister? He is. He's trying to scare you. There she is. What do you think? Do you see her? Oh, big boy. Are you big brother?
Oh, see your sister?
Yeah.
He's looking at her.
You trying to get to her? Strong boy. Oh, there you go. What's cool is my midwife stayed. Your midwife stays, cleans up everything, like stays for a couple hours after you have the baby, and that was just so nice. Getting to debrief about the birth, take in my baby, like not have to worry about the cleanup. It's just, it is a dream, honestly. Nora's gonna join me and Mary Lou. It was a beautiful birth. I would do it over and over and over again. That is our birth story. But postpartum has been amazing this time around, like amazing. And I think that has a lot to do with just having a really peaceful, good birth. But thank you for coming to my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hi.
It's all the girls, huh?
We saw the girls.
All the girls. All the girls. There's Mary Lou.
Can I do Merlu?
I think you gotta kind of hold it like this. It's kind of heavy, isn't it? You have her so good.